helps him become the badass anti-hero redneck. And with Steve Austin, I feel like Mick Foley when he forgets his lines. And with What is going on, everyone? How are you doing? I hope you're doing good, because it is good to feel good. I love saying that. I think you've noticed it a lot on my channel that I love saying it. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I am a massive wrestling fan. In particular, I'm a big WWE fan. Look at me, I'm wearing my John Cena shirt with all the pride and all hustle, loyalty and respect. Do. You can't see me. Oh, well, we're gonna just make this into a John Cena video, aren't we? So I've been watching WWE since 2002, and it's crazy to think I've been watching it for 14 years now. A lot has changed since 2002, and especially in 2014, the release of the WWE Network. And with that, you can basically watch anything that's happened in WWE's history. It's incredible, it is. And you can watch back some great matches. You can watch stuff, original shows on the network. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's a great thing. It's a great invention, and I'm so thankful that it exists. And with the WWE, it's also known for some of its great storytelling and some great compelling matches that are great to watch. And they're brilliant. They're brilliant. They are. I don't know how to explain it in this video, but I have a lot of favourite matches, and that's why today I have come up with a top 10 list of my favourite WWE matches of all time. Limiting this list to 10 matches was quite hard, and I do have quite a few favourites, so without further ado, I'm going to list a few honourable mentions right now, and those are Undertaker vs Mankind in a Hell in a Cell match from King of the Ring 1998, The Rock vs Hollywood Hulk Hogan from WrestleMania 18, Shawn Michaels vs Kurt Angle from WrestleMania 21, Shawn Michaels vs Ric Flair, there's a lot of Shawn Michaels matches on this list, Shawn Michaels vs Ric Flair from WrestleMania 24, and John Cena vs Daniel Bryan from SummerSlam 2013. And so yeah, without further ado, here are my top 10 favourite WWE matches of all time. And the fly's just gone onto my light, and it's distracting. So yeah, here's my favourite matches. And starting off with number 10, TLC 2 from WrestleMania X7. Now, TLC are a band that were formed in 1991 in Atlanta, Georgia, and they're probably best known for their hit song, Waterfalls. Wait, no, that can't be right. Let me just look at my notes.
A few moments later.
Ah, different TLC. Different TLC. Here we go. So the first TLC match actually took place at SummerSlam in 2000, where it consisted of the Dudley Boys, who were known for their tables, the Hardy Boys, who were known for their ladders, and Edge and Christian, who were known for their chairs. And what do you get when you combine the three? Well, you get tables, ladders, and chairs. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant concept, and it's basically an evolution of the ladder match. And yeah, with all those three elements combined, you get the TLC match. And of course, the second took place at WrestleMania X7, one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. It had great matches such as TLC 2, of course, Vince McMahon versus Shane McMahon, Undertaker versus Triple H, The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Oh, we'll get into that. Of course, this match was just an incredible spot fest. Now, if you don't know what a spot fest is, it's basically a match that doesn't really have much storytelling, but it has great, compelling moments. Quite extreme, to be honest, but they're brilliant. Brilliant. Watch this match and you'll know why. So from all the little cameos such as Spike Dudley, Rhino and Lita for all their respective teams, to Jeff Hardy delivering a swanton bomb to Rhino and Spike Dudley through 2 tables from a ladder, to Edge spearing Jeff Hardy. He was basically dangling from the title belts, the tag team title belts, and he was speared in midair. That's brilliant. That's probably one of the most incredible moments from WrestleMania, and that's why it's a cool moment. That's why it's one of my favourite matches, and that's why it's at number 10. And to be honest, going on about the tag team division and how, it's not, brilliant today, I think it's because of, matches like this that really, defined the tag team division at the time. It was these 3 guys. I know you had a lot of tag teams that existed in the WWE or WWF at that point, but these 3 teams really defined the division with matches like the TLC match. And then number 9, Shawn Michaels vs Razor Ramon in the ladder match from WrestleMania 10. Going on about the ladder match, hey, technically this wasn't actually the first ladder match that took place in WWE. Of course, that took place in a house show in 1992 between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, which was also a great match. This was actually the first ladder match to be broadcast on pay-per-view, so you know you're going to be expecting something exciting. And of course, the Heartbreak Kid is known for taking place in a lot of first-time matches. He took place in the first ever Iron Man match, he took place in the first ever Hell in a Cell match, and he took place in the first ever Elimination Chamber match. And there was an interesting story going into this match where both men were claiming to be the champion, of course, Razor Ramon being the actual champion, and Shawn Michaels, who was stripped of the title a few months prior and claiming to be the champion. And of course, how do you settle a dispute like this? Well, in some cases you could take it to court and settle it, but you know, when it's WWE, you settle it in a ladder match. So the stage was set, WrestleMania 10, Madison Square Garden. Both belts were hanging from above the ring, and there was some great offense in this match, and it's like nothing that you've never seen before. And especially with the ladder being there, it helped, you know, Shawn Michaels put on some great high-flying offense. And of course, the great finale, where Shawn Michaels found himself hung up in the ropes, and Razor Ramon claiming both title belts. Number 8, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn from NXT TakeOver Dallas. Now this is the most recent match as of the time I'm recording this video, and let's go into it. So NXT has been going since 2012 and it's attracted quite some names. You've got the likes of Seth Rollins, Neville, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, Austin Aries, Bobby Roode. Glorious! And earlier this year they signed the King of Strong Style himself, the man who is just synonymous with New Japan Pro Wrestlers. Honestly, his matches in New Japan are brilliant, and if you haven't watched any Shinsuke Nakamura matches, I urge you to do it. Before WWE, before NXT, go watch his New Japan stuff, it's brilliant. And what was his first match in NXT? Well, it was of course against Sami Zayn. It was a match that took place at NXT TakeOver Dallas in April of this year, on the WrestleMania weekend, and it went a full 20 minutes and there was never a dull moment, and the crowd was so into it. Honestly, they chanted "Fight Forever" because it was so bloody brilliant. And the ending was just a crescendo that ended in Kinshasa, or as it's named in New Japan, as a crescendo of Bomaye. And honestly, it is one of the best matches I've watched in 2016. It was Nakamura's debut in NXT, and it was Sami Zayn's swan song in NXT. A great welcome party and a great send-off party, all wrapped into one. It's brilliant. Number 7, Bret Hart vs Stone Cold Steve Austin, WrestleMania 13. Now, 1997 was quite a difficult year for Bret Hart, considering the fact he was eyed up by rival company WCW at the time, and eventually the controversy that would happen in November that year. And while his scheduled match with Shawn Michaels fell through, something better came along. So continuing on with his feud with Stone Cold Steve Austin, the match was set a no disqualification submission match, and it included one of the best twists in WWE history. So going into the match, Austin was a heel, which is, you know, a villainous character if you don't know, and Bret Hart was a face, which is, you know, a hero character basically, a fan favourite. And going out of the match, the roles were reversed. Basically, the twist is basically this. So Bret Hart had Steve Austin locked in the sharpshooter, his blood dripping from his face, and he basically refused to submit and he passed out from, you know, the loss of blood. So going out of that match, Steve Austin was the face, Bret Hart was the heel. It's a brilliant twist. And with Steve Austin's face turn, it helped him become the badass anti-hero redneck that we all know and love today. You know, his great feud with Vince McMahon. It's brilliant. Basically the seeds were sown for his feud with McMahon at that point. And after the Montreal Screwjob later that year, that's where it all came along. Number 6, Sasha Banks versus Bayley from NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2015. Now, I love women's wrestling. I honestly think it's the way forward in WWE this time, in this era. And this is coming especially after years of, you know, stuff like sex appeal, bikini contests, bra and panties matches, and of course, divas. Last year there was the idea of a divas revolution being pushed, and honestly the whole angle in itself, it was very poorly booked. But the irony is, the revolution itself actually started down in NXT. You had the likes of Paige, Emma, Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and of course Sasha Banks and Bayley. And there was great storytelling in this match as well, with Bayley going in as the underdog, fan favourite, and also paying tribute to the recently deceased Dusty Rhodes. And of course you have Sasha going into the match as the villainous champion, and there you go. Never a dull moment in this match with its fast-paced movement and a brilliant finale. and the post-match celebration, which included Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Sasha and Bayley all hugging and embracing each other, and it was a great sign of things to come in the following year. And since TakeOver Brooklyn, there have been 2 matches that have main evented of either an NXT TakeOver special or a WWE pay-per-view. So you've got Sasha and Bayley going at it again at NXT TakeOver Respect in a 30-minute women's Iron Man match, and then recently there was the Hell in a Cell match, which took place between Charlotte and Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's title, and that took place at Hell in a Cell. Well, Hell in a Cell, you'd expect it to be at Hell in a Cell. Number 5 is Bret Hart versus the British Bulldog from SummerSlam 1992. This is often voted the best SummerSlam match of all time, and there's a few reasons for that. It took place at the old Wembley Stadium in good old London, England. It was for the Intercontinental Championship, so that means that's incredible. A fact that a main event match is for the Intercontinental Championship over the WWE Championship, adding more prestige, to a title like the Intercontinental title. And it pitted 2 members of the Hart family against one another. So going into this match, Davey Boy had quite a few problems. He was coming off from an injury, he was out of shape going into the match, and he hadn't actually slept in 48 hours. And another thing is, he also forgot the match plan of how it would all play out, basically. So with the help of his brother-in-law, they were able to execute the match to perfection, with Bret basically calling each spot on the go. And the match ended with an incredible counter from Davey Boy, from Bret doing a sunset flip and basically pinned him to the mat, 1, 2, 3, and it is one of the loudest pops ever to be heard in WWE history. And it was a feel-good moment for Davey Boy, celebrating winning the Intercontinental Championship in front of his home country. And also, Bret has said before that leading his brother to victory it's one of his greatest in-ring achievements, so fair play to you, Bret. Number 4 is The Rock vs Stone Cold Steve Austin from WrestleMania X7. I mentioned this match earlier and mentioned it being part of the best WrestleMania of all time. Here's my reason why I love the main event. So you've got The Rock and you've got Steve Austin, 2 of the biggest stars of the Attitude Era, and they've actually collided 3 times before WrestleMania. Of course, the first time was at WrestleMania 15, this time at WrestleMania 17, and their finale at WrestleMania 19. And much like how The Empire Strikes Back is to the original Star Wars trilogy, the second installment is the best overall. It also has one of the best video packages as well, set to Limp Bizkit's My Way. Honestly, give that a watch, it's a brilliant promo package. The story going into this match was brilliant. It included The Rock winning the WWF Championship from Kurt Angle a month prior at No Way Out, and also Stone Cold Steve Austin completing a hat-trick of Royal Rumble victories in January of that year. And then you've got the big match at WrestleMania X7 in front of the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. So the action in this match was, it was very back and forth. You honestly could have thought either men could have won this match. And then Vince McMahon gets involved, and much like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, a plot twist happens. And what is this plot twist? Well, Austin turned heel, and what's ironic is that he aligned himself with his arch nemesis, Vince McMahon. Like, when does that happen? When does that happen? When would we ever have thought during the Attitude Era that Austin would side himself with Vince McMahon? But honestly, Vince McMahon and Austin's heel turn aside, it's one of the greatest WrestleMania main events of all time, and it's a great conclusion to the Attitude Era. Number 3, John Cena vs CM Punk from Money in the Bank 2011. So on the June 27th, 2011 edition of Monday Night Raw, CM Punk cut one of the best promos in recent memory. He cited his problems with Vince McMahon's method of business, Rock and Cena being in a main event of WrestleMania, and that he announced that he was going to be leaving the WWE with the WWE Championship. And when was he leaving? On July 17th. And what so happened to be that night? Money in the Bank. And where did Money in the Bank take place? In Chicago. Of course, CM Punk's hometown. So Punk basically went into this match as a god. When his music hit, everyone cheered. Everyone rejoiced at saying, yes, CM Punk. That honestly, the crowd was so deafening. And then when John Cena's music hits, everyone boos the hell out of him. Nobody wants John Cena. I want John Cena, but on that night when I watched it, nobody wanted John Cena. Like, there were even signs in the crowd that said if Punk loses or if Cena wins, we riot. Thank goodness that didn't happen. And the ending to the match was quite, what? More shenanigans? Yep, Vinnie Mac tried to get involved again, and of course, thank goodness, It didn't happen, thanks to John Cena, and then Cena hops back into the ring, he gets hit by a GTS, 1, 2, 3, CM Punk is WWE Champion, and then he hops over the barricade, blows a kiss goodbye to Vince McMahon, maybe that's foreshadowing for something, and he left the Allstate Arena with the WWE Championship. And thankfully, this match received a 5-star rating on the Wrestling Observer, and it was the first of its kind since 1997. And honestly, it was truly deserving. Number 2 is Triple H versus Shawn Michaels versus Chris Benoit at WrestleMania 20. Triple H has quite a curse of following up great WrestleMania matches with quite dull WrestleMania matches, to be honest. For example, at WrestleMania 18, he followed up The Rock versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan with a match with Chris Jericho, and the crowd was dead. After Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair at WrestleMania 24, he followed up with a match against Randy Orton and John Cena. The crowd was kind of dead as well. And then early this year, WrestleMania 32, the main event was a match against Roman Reigns, and that was boring. Boring. It was pretty boring, to be honest. But this time, the roles were reversed. He was in the best match that night with his good pal HBK and the up-and-coming underdog, Chris Benoit. So while the story seemed to centre around Triple H and Shawn Michaels, Chris Benoit had a brilliant Royal Rumble performance that year. He lasted over an hour, and he won the match from entering at number 1, and then a couple of weeks later he jumped ships over to Raw, and he competes for the World Heavyweight Championship, and that match is set a triple threat match where it all begins again at WrestleMania 20, Madison Square Garden. You've got a great match in store. I mean, it had near falls, it had great offense, and the finale is incredible with Triple H submitting to the crippler crossface from Chris Benoit, and the post-match celebration even brought a tear to my eye with Chris Benoit hugging it out with his lifelong friend Eddie Guerrero, and it's a WrestleMania moment to cherish. And unfortunately, it's a shame that, you know, WWE will not acknowledge this match, considering the facts of the Benoit tragedy that occurred in 2007, and of course, you know, you will not see a mention of this match anywhere in the WWE today. But, you know, if they could just basically put this controversy aside and remember this as his defining moment. It's the moment, you know, he built his entire career for, and this was the great finale, not the finale, but, you know, a great climax to get to that moment. And my number 1 favourite match of all time, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 25. I know, right, very cliche, but I have my reasons. So 11 years prior, Undertaker actually put Michaels on the shelf, and the latter didn't return to full-time competition until 2002. How had this match not taken place at WrestleMania yet? Answers on a postcard, please. But add in the fact that both men were in their mid-40s at the time this took place, and you know they have years of experience, then you know this is going to be great. And can we just say, thank God this wasn't Undertaker versus Vladimir Kozlov, because you know how bad that match could have been. Yeah, it doesn't sound like a main event level match to take place at WrestleMania. Probably would take place, you know, on the lower card, but, you know, definitely not in a main event position. Which is ironic, because that match wasn't even the main event at WrestleMania that year. But still, it's a great match. And the offense in this match was so back and forth. Both men hitting their finishes on each other, near falls. And honestly, I would have thought, watching this match, that Michaels would be the one to finally break the streak. Because, you know, he came very close. All these sweet chin musics, all this offense. And he came very close. And he didn't break it. Although Brock Lesnar did break it 5 years later, this almost happened. This is what I'm talking about. We're not talking about Brock Lesnar, we're talking about this. So as I was saying, each one managed to connect with their own respective finishing moves before the grand finale, where Undertaker countered a moonsault into a tombstone pile driver, 1, 2, 3. It went a full 30 minutes, and that's why, you know, it's a great match. Watch it on the network. I've in fact, before recording this video, I was watching it myself just to get a few notes for it, and it's still a great match to watch. I know it's 30 minutes, it's a long match. Hope you can, you know, last that long in watching a wrestling match, because, you know, if you're gonna have a long wrestling match, then you know it's gonna be brilliant to watch. And yeah, that's how great Undertaker Shawn Michaels was. And of course they did, you know, encounter the following year at WrestleMania 26, but their first encounter at WrestleMania is arguably the best, and it's my favourite match of all time. And there we have it. Those are my top 10 favourite WWE matches of all time. What are some of your favourite WWE matches of all time? Let me know in the comments below, or let me know on Twitter, or wherever you want on the internet. Thank you very much for watching, and like, comment, subscribe, and share the love. See ya!